let's talk about something that derails countless projects, a complete and utter lack of alignment. Today, we're going to look at how to get from that messy, chaotic state of disconnected ideas to a place of crystal clear, unified direction for everyone on the team. You've been there, right? I know I have. A project kicks off, everyone's full of energy, and then somehow it just veers off course. Deadlines start to slip, and the final product, well, it's not what anyone actually wanted. So what is going on here? What's the real reason this happens over and over again? It's really that simple, and at the same time, that complicated. See, when every single stakeholder has a different idea of what done looks like, you're not building a bridge. You're just building a bunch of disconnected ramps that lead to nowhere. At the end of the day, alignment is everything. But hey, the good news is there is a powerful antidote to this chaos, and it's called the Requirements Workshop. Now, this is not just another meeting you have to sit through. It's a focused, high-energy, collaborative session that's designed to create one single, shared vision for the entire team. Okay, so what is a Requirements Workshop, really? Well, it's a dynamic session where you get all the key players. We're talking business analysts, developers, and yeah, even the actual end users all together in one room. The goal? To define, discuss, and most importantly, agree on exactly what needs to be built. So the first huge benefit you get is true collaboration. Instead of this slow drip of information through emails or one-on-one interviews, you have stakeholders actually working together, building on each other's ideas. This kind of collective brainpower gives you a way more precise understanding of the requirements. And trust me, it's one of your best defenses against that dreaded scope creep later on. And because of this open discussion, workshops naturally become these little incubators for innovation. When people are brainstorming together, it can spark some really creative solutions. And even more important, it helps uncover those little hidden requirements that a series of separate interviews would almost definitely miss. Think about it. When you involve all the key stakeholders from the very beginning, you're building consensus from the ground up. Everyone gets to have their say, they all feel heard, and that sense of shared ownership, it dramatically cuts down on the risk of expensive misunderstandings later in the project. Another massive advantage is just how immediate everything is. Instead of that slow, painful back and forth over email, a facilitator can clear up any confusion right there on the spot. This real-time feedback loop makes sure everyone leaves that room on the exact same page. So how do you actually run one of these things? I mean, it's not about just throwing a bunch of people in a room and hoping for the best. You need a playbook. So let's walk through the 7 essential steps that'll guarantee your workshop is a success. First things first, you have to know your why. What is the point of this workshop? You need to be able to clearly state your goals. Are you trying to gather requirements for a brand new product? Or maybe refine features for something that already exists? Having a clear objective is like your North Star for the whole session. Next up, you gotta get the right people in the room. And that means a diverse group that really represents all the different perspectives. You want the end users who are living the problem every day, the subject matter experts who have that deep knowledge, the project sponsors who are holding the purse strings, and of course, the technical folks who will actually have to build the thing. An effective workshop absolutely runs on a tight agenda. You have to outline the key topics, give specific time slots for each discussion, and hey, don't forget to throw in some icebreakers to get people talking. A good agenda is what keeps the session focused, productive, and feeling collaborative. Now, a great workshop is way more than just an open discussion. You need a mix of techniques in your toolkit. Things like brainstorming, where every idea is a good idea, or affinity mapping, where you group those ideas into themes. You could map out a user's journey from A to Z, or even sketch out some simple prototypes to make abstract ideas feel more real. To make sure the environment is safe and productive, you need some ground rules, and they can be simple. Things like encouraging active listening, making sure everyone feels comfortable speaking up, and keeping feedback constructive. These guidelines ensure the conversation stays respectful and on track. Listen, if it isn't written down, it didn't happen. It's that simple. You need to assign a dedicated note taker or use recording tools to capture every single key discussion, every decision, and every action item. This documentation becomes the official source of truth for the entire project. It's invaluable. And hey, the workshop isn't over just because the meeting ends. The final critical step is to follow up. Get those notes and action items out to all the participants quickly. And if there are still some open questions, go ahead and schedule follow-up meetings to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Okay, so that's the playbook.
But, theory is one thing. What does this actually look like in the real world? Let's check out how this 7-step process can play out in a couple of very different scenarios.
All right, in our first example, let's say a company is building a new CRM system. They get sales reps, customer service agents, and the IT staff all together. They use techniques like storyboarding a customer's journey to really understand the pain points. Then they brainstorm solutions, and finally, they use an affinity diagram to group all those ideas into features. They walk away with a crystal clear, prioritized list that actually meets everyone's needs. And remember, workshops aren't just for software projects. In this case, a company wants to streamline its order fulfillment, so they bring together teams from procurement, logistics, and sales. They map out the current process, identify the real bottlenecks in small group discussions, and then they literally prototype a new ideal workflow on a whiteboard. The outcome isn't lines of code, it's a set of real, actionable insights that will make their whole operation run smoother. Now, there's one person in all of this who is absolutely 100% critical to success: the facilitator. They're like the conductor of the orchestra, and honestly, their skill can make or break the entire session. So let's go over a few pro tips that separate a good facilitator from a truly great one. A great facilitator is always active, right? They're asking open-ended questions to draw out the quieter people, not just letting the loudest person in the room dominate. They keep everyone focused, gently guiding the conversation back to the agenda, but they also know when it's okay to explore a promising tangent. They build rapport to create a safe space for sharing, and they use visual aids to make really complex ideas simple and clear for everyone. And the final, most crucial tip that truly great facilitators live by is this: always evaluate your own success. After every single workshop, collect feedback from the participants. What worked? What could have been better? This commitment to continuous improvement is what turns every session into a learning opportunity, making your workshops more and more valuable over time. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this: workshops are so much more than meetings. They transform what can be a really static, boring task into a dynamic conversation. And that shared understanding that you build in that room, that is the true foundation of any successful project. So I'll leave you with a question for your own work. The next time you feel a project starting to drift into that chaotic zone, ask yourself, what game-changing idea, what hidden requirement is just waiting to be uncovered, if only you could get the right people talking in the same room?